Are you thinking about buying the brand new Pixel 7 Pro or a Pixel 7? You might want to watch this video because I have a few things that I have learned about the phone after using it for this past week. This information may help you in deciding if this is the right phone for you or if you want to keep looking. Hello and welcome back to Gears and Tech. First of all, thanks for joining us today. And if you don't mind, please hit the like and subscribe button down below to show that you're appreciating the content that we're covering on this channel. Now, a lot of you may have already seen my Pixel 7 Pro unboxing video. If you haven't, you can check that out. I'll put a link in the description or maybe up over here somewhere. But I do kind of open up the box and show you what's inside. I'm not going to cover that today. It's been about a week. I've been using this phone now for, again, about a week. And I've got some things that I don't like so much about it, and I want to cover that in this video. So this is going to be a bit of a dump on video saying all the things that I really don't like about it. And I will be doing a full review of the phone in the coming weeks after I've had more of a chance to check it out and try it out. But there's some things that have been really annoying for me that I wanted to kind of cover off so that you guys are aware of what's it like transitioning from whatever phone you're on now to this new flagship model. So this one is the Pixel 7 Pro. It has a 6.7-inch screen that is measured diagonally across this way. It does have a rollover screen, so it's not flat, it rolls over the sides. This particular one is 128 gigabytes with 12 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM. It also has the Google Tensor G2 chip, which to anyone who's not a geek has no idea what that means. Just know that if it's a G2, that means it's better than the G1. And I'm gonna air quote this because really, at the end of the day, you probably don't care as long as when you turn the phone on, it turns on, and when you navigate the software, it's smooth and convenient. So just know that this is the latest and greatest chip, and they say that it can do all kinds of wonderful things in software to make this the best phone that you can get. At least that's what Google says right now. It is the best Android experience that you can get. Now, that is a bit of a play on words because currently this is the only phone that you can get that runs Android 13. So if you want to run the latest and greatest Android offering, this is the way to do that. And of course, you can't talk about a Google Pixel phone without talking about the camera. Now, Google has been saying that their cameras are the best or one of the best on any mobile phone out there. I'm not totally sure that I believe them, but the camera on this phone is actually not too bad. So you have a main camera that does 50 megapixels, you have a secondary telephoto camera that's at 48 megapixels, and you have a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera that will shoot up to 126 degree wide angle pictures, which is really great when you're trying to fit the whole picture in. Coming around to the front, it does have a 10.8 megapixel selfie camera, which actually has a widescreen mode as well. And I showed in my unboxing, but it is quite wide and it does fit a lot into the picture that you take if you're using selfie mode. So you don't need a super long arm and you can still get a lot in that selfie framing. Now that you know kind of the specs at a glance, let's talk a little bit about the things that annoy me about this phone. So the first thing is this phone gets quite hot. So the Tensor chip, it doesn't have really any cooling, so it gets very hot. Now I also have a case on my phone because I like to protect my investment. This is up in Canada, it's a $1,200 or $1,300 phone. It's not cheap and you're carrying it around in your pocket where it will be exposed to a lot of hazards when you're pulling it out and you could drop it and whatever. So I always put a case on my phone. This phone is no different and I put this case on and it runs very warm when you're using it with just regular light use. Now it's not usually a big deal until you go to put it in your pocket and then your leg all of a sudden is really warm. And up here in Canada, maybe it doubles as a pocket warmer, but normally you don't like to have your phone get warm. It could be a little bit of PTSD from the Galaxy Note 7 days where they were exploding, the batteries were exploding in the phones. Ever since then, I've always been like hyper conscious or I've been hyper concerned about my phone getting too warm in my pocket. And anytime it does start to get really warm, I start to go, oh no, is it gonna happen again? And then I'm pulling it out and checking, make sure that the screen hasn't accidentally turned on or whatever's causing this battery to get so warm is not gonna, cause injury to life and limb. So it does get concerningly warm, but to my knowledge, none have exploded yet. So it's probably okay. The number 2 thing that I don't like about this phone, I already talked about it, it's this curved screen. It does have a curved screen, and if you like a curved screen phone, you will probably like this. The curve, it's a little bit less than the Pixel 6, so the 6 curved over a lot more. This one's a lot more manageable, but personally, I hate curved screen phones. I'm very disappointed that when you start getting into the large screen phones, most of them have a curved screen and there's no great options. So even though this screen measures 6.7 inches, some of those inches is actually curving over the edge. So it's not a true 6.7 flat screen. It's tolerable. The reason why I don't like it from a secondary perspective is that when it curves like that, and you're not going to see this very well, it's very hard to protect the sides from mechanical damage. So what that does for me is I actually end up getting a curved screen glass protector, which makes it hard to stick on. So they don't make the whole thing sticky, just the edges are sticky, and then when you put it in your pocket, you get pocket lint in behind the stickiness on there. And in my case, you're not going to see it very well, but there's a little sticky pad on there, right there where the thumbprint scanner is. So it's like always there. It's like this weird like little thing on the screen. That's not the fault of the Google Pixel people or Google at all. It's the fault of the screen protector manufacturers. But if you want a glass screen protector, this was the only option. If you want a plastic screen protector, I'm so over plastic screen protectors because they just feel like crap. So your finger gets stuck, it doesn't slide around right. I want the premium experience still, and there's no great screen protector option for the Pixel 7 Pro at this time. This one actually lifts off a bit, so it makes touch sensitivity a little bit weird. It's just, it ruins the user experience. Speaking of user experience, I'll talk about the next point. The gesture flow control of Google's Android 13 operating system, hate it. If you are an Apple fan, if you have an iPhone and you love your iPhone, especially the more recent gen iPhones that do not have the home button, you're probably gonna love the Pixel 7 Pro or the Pixel 7. And if you were considering switching from Apple to Android, this is the gateway drug you've been looking for. This will feel so much like an iPhone that you will wonder why you didn't switch to Android sooner. The good news is, you couldn't have switched to Android sooner because this is the first iteration where it feels a lot like the iPhone. Now you may have noticed I do not have an iPhone. My previous phone, in fact, I can pull it out of my pocket here, is currently, it's a S10 Plus. It is what I'm using actually to record my audio right now. And before that, I had an A70. And before that, I had, I don't even remember, I think I had the Note 7. And you may notice that I have a long line of Android phones. That's because I don't particularly care for the Apple iOS software. So you can imagine my surprise when I pulled this phone out and then started trying to use it. So then I opened like the camera, and the way to close it, you got to swipe up just like you do on your iPhone. Everything is gesture controls because we've gone away with the back button. So you don't have the buttons across the bottom here anymore. So when you're opening like a web browser or something, to go back, you get a little back button up here, similar to what you probably are used to on your iPhone. And you can thumb around and do that. The problem that I have is on a big phone like this, I'm used to just holding it in my left hand and then navigating across the bottom without having to reach to the top of my phone. But now it's a two-hand experience. I have to use my right hand to hold the phone because I'm left-handed, and then press the back button and then swipe this way and swipe that way. I hate it. Lucky there is a solution. Now I have seen people complain about this very same thing, and they said, you know, in time you'll get used to it. I'm going to show you a top secret tip. I'm glad you stayed this long, because before we get too far into this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel down below. If you've seen some of our content already and have not subscribed, we want you to join our community. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and let's get back to the video. If you swipe down and then swipe down again and then open up the settings in the bottom, and then you go to search and you search for gestures like that, then you can go to system gestures and it highlights it. Now we can go to system navigation. You have the option to go gestures, or you can bring back your 3-button navigation. And just like that, I now have my 3 buttons back. So I can open my camera, for example, and then I can push this to close the camera like I'm used to. The one thing I don't like is if I pull up the multitasker, I can see all of my multitasks, but what I can't do is auto close everything. The only way that I can find to close them is to just swipe up and 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 do that for everything that you've got open, which sucks. And no matter where I look, I can't seem to find anything that allows me to multi-close everything all at once. And I think that's because it's got 12 gigs of RAM, and Google's like, you know what, you're never gonna need to close it because we can handle running everything. Our processor is that awesome that it can just handle it all. Well, I'd rather not have it handle it all because I like to save battery as much as possible, because I'm always super worried that my battery is going to die and I'm not going to be able to charge it back up. Which brings me to my next point. The battery life. This has a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, which is about average for a phone of this size, but it is not the biggest battery. And this phone was getting about 4.5 to 5 hours of battery life of screen time on battery life. So depending on how much you use your phone, that probably will last all day. But many users were starting to have the battery die into the evening and they were looking for a charger. Now, there have been some updates since then, and most people are getting closer to 5 to 6 hours of screen time on battery life. But if you are a power user or you're gaming a lot on your phone, your battery is still gonna die quickly, and that's a problem for me. I run what my kids call the Stalker app. It's called Life 360. It's an app that always runs in the background, and it allows you to kind of track other people in your family circle and that sort of thing. If you haven't checked it out, I strongly encourage you. It's a little bit weird, but once you get used to it, it's actually very handy. But it uses a lot of battery power. So even if the phone's not on, it's constantly polling your location and then updating that server about your location. So it chews through battery already. So if you've got a phone that has a little bit smaller battery, you can find yourself reaching for that charger a lot more often than you would hope. Back to the design a little bit. I'm not a big fan of the design. The part in the back here with the camera that sticks out, I really don't like it. Plus, I've got a screen protector on here as well, which there's no great way to put a screen protector on there, and I think it's affecting the image quality of my videos. So now I have a choice. I have to pull the screen protector off and run that camera exposed and hope that I don't smash the lens or anything like that, or run a screen protector and lose some of my image quality. I don't like that I have to choose between the two. Not only that, if I pop this out, you'll see the back is also glass. I really don't like a glass-backed phone. I know that a lot of premium phones are running glass backs and glass fronts and all that, but it's so weird to me that anybody would want to have glass like that over all of the surface. It feels pretty premium, but it's such high risk. You pretty much have to run a screen protector and a back case in order to protect this thing, or you're gonna be looking for a new phone shortly. And that's a lot of money to have doled out for a phone that's not really built to last or withstand, you know, the things that life's gonna throw at you. And then to summarize it all up into one thing, the Pixel 7 Pro really feels like a 6 Pro S. It doesn't feel like a new model, it feels like an evolution of an existing model. That could be great. You could love that. You could be like, man, I wish they had a new and improved Pixel 6 Pro or a Pixel 6. Well, this is it. But if you're like me and you were kind of holding out for a better Pixel, better thought out, better designed, better, you know, just better overall, this feels so much like an upgrade over the Pixel 6 that it's a refresh. It's like something that Apple would do. You know, this is Apple techniques. This is not cutting edge Android techniques. At least that's not the way that I see it anyway. It's a little bit surprising to me, the approach that they took. There's a lot of really neat software things that are going on here. You're gonna get really excited about all the software offerings. The reason I'm not really talking too much about the software is because this is Android 13. Eventually, all of last gen's phones will get Android 13 as well. So a lot of the features that are available on this phone will be available on the new phones or other competing phones. So it's not like you have to buy this to get all of the software features. You just have to wait a little bit to decide if you want this or if your phone from like last year is going to upgrade to Android 13 and get a lot of those same features. And that's the point that I'm at in this video, where I have to decide, could I recommend this phone to someone as an upgrade or as a new phone? And I think it depends. If you have a phone from last year, you definitely do not need to upgrade right now. If you're like me and you have a Galaxy S10 Plus, which is at least like 4 years old now, and you're looking for an upgraded phone, you're looking for that new experience, this could be the phone you're looking for, as long as you realize that Android 13 is a huge step away from what you're used to with Android 10, 11, and 12. Just the way that you navigate through the settings on here is different. It just feels more like an iPhone. And I'm actually kind of waiting to see what Samsung decides to do with this, because as you know, Samsung puts their skin on top of the Android OS. So they might choose to make it more like the old Android operating system, or they may try to implement this a little bit better way. So for me right now, I would recommend to wait. In fact, I have a couple new phones coming that are still running Android 12 because I'm so turned off by this. I hope that helps you in deciding if this is the right phone for you. Hey, thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video. We hope you enjoy the content in this video, and we'd love to have you come back. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And for those subscribers who are looking for that extra special thing that you can do to support this channel, consider joining our members group. That's where we're building this community, the Gears and Tech community, where we can all enjoy content together. You'll get special perks, which we'd love for you to check out by clicking the link down below. For those of you who are just happy to watch the video, that's okay too. You can check out some of our other content right over here, where we've got some previous videos that have already been uploaded and enjoyed by many of our viewers already. We do hope to see you again. This has been Gears and Tech. Have a great day.